You're worth the price of admission. And you got Baylor Scott and White Health along for the ride. So square up. You got this.
RJ's Bargain Center is your home team for appliances at unbeatable prices. From refrigerators to washers, dryers to stoves, you'll find brand new appliances with huge discounts. And just like your favorite local teams, RJ's is proud to support our community and local sports. Score your savings today at RJ's Bargain Center, 711 Lynn Street, Waco. Call 254-224-6178. RJ's Bargain Center, where big savings are always a home run.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, founder.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis. We get ready to bring you through the primetime topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. We want to thank everybody for tuning in with us on this Friday Eve, Thursday afternoon. Thanks to everybody for tuning in with us. We got a great show planned for you here today on Centex Sports Network. We got to talk about high school football Friday. Districts starting in some districts. Midway taking on Harker Heights. We'll see Colleen Shoemaker taking on Temple. We'll get some really fun games. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about some of the standout players in this Central Texas area. Also, got to talk some college football. Big-time matchups this weekend. LSU versus Ole Miss. Alabama versus Georgia. Penn State and Oregon. We'll talk about all those games and break that down. And, of course, got to touch some NFL. We got some NFL games coming on tonight. So we'll get you guys ready, locked in for that. And we're going to preview the coming up games for the Sunday slate. We'll get you guys locked in, ready to go. I'll give you some of my advice, I guess you could say, not advice, who I think will win in some of these games for this upcoming weekend. So stay tuned and stay locked in with us. If you're watching with us on YouTube, I want to thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Go subscribe, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV. You can go on there, click that subscribe button, share, like it, send it to somebody else, let them know we're here talking some football here on Centex Primetime today. Also, if you're watching with us on our website, centexsportsnetwork.com, make sure you guys go on there, free subscription. Just get signed up, need your name and your email, and you'll be able to catch all of our content, which includes MCC Volleyball. Great game last night. That was right here on Centex Sports Network. Saturday, they've got some more volleyball coming up, so make sure you guys tune in for that. And we cannot forget about Friday Night Flex. Tomorrow night, myself, Wayne Walker, Rocky Miller, we'll all be back in here to give you guys some updates and analysis on every game here in the Central Texas area, Greater Waco area, and high school football tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that, 6 to 10 p.m. We'll give you guys some pregame analysis, and then after that, we'll backdoor give you guys some in-game and post-game analysis as well. So make sure you guys tune in for that tomorrow. Centex, right here on Centex Sports Network, Friday Night Flex Myself, Rocky Miller, Wayne Walker will all be back in the building. Well, folks, like I said, we're gonna get right into it, breaking down some football. That's what we're here to do today, is break down some football. And we got to start on the high school side. Lots of great games, as I mentioned, coming up. District starting for some districts. Some old time rivalries kind of reigniting this weekend as well. We'll talk about some of those games. Let me give you a quick rundown of most of the games going on here in the Greater Waco area. 7 o'clock, Harker Heights will be taking on the Midway Panthers. We'll come back and talk about that one in just a second. Colleen Shoemaker taking on Temple, a battle of the 4-0 teams. Young Chad President, head coach out there for the Temple Wildcats, off to a great start, as well as their other district counterpart, Midway and Shoemaker. Leander Rouse taking on Lake Belton at 7 o'clock tomorrow. San Angelo Central taking on Waco High. Waco High still searching for the first win of the season. University taking on an undefeated Lampasas team that we've seen this team have some struggles with in the past. Last year, I believe they were able to get the win. University was able to get a win. This is going to be a tough task getting a win at Lampasas tomorrow at 7:30. Belton versus Cuero. Cuero is one of the top programs in Texas football, all of high school football. Cuero, year in and year out, one of the best teams. So Belton's going to have their hands full this weekend. La Vega taking on undefeated Stephenville, number 5 versus number 3, one in 4A Division 1, the other one in 4A Division 2. China Spring taking on Brownwood. Brownwood coming off of a loss against La Vega last week. We'll see if China Spring can get back in the win column. That game kicks off at 7:30. Conley and Athens. Athens coming into this 3-1. The Cadets looking to pick up another win as they're trying to get over the hump out of 500. Robinson Rockets, 3-1 on the season, taking on Hillsboro. That game at 7:30. Burnett and Gatesville. This Gatesville team is really good, folks. I've talked about their quarterback, Gary Keaton, on this show and on Friday Night Flex. They're do-it-all receiver / corner / safety, and Amos Phillips. Gatesville's got a really good squad, man. They're taking on Burnett at 7:30 tomorrow. Marlin versus West. Marlin, a team that came in ranked in the preseason, still looking for their first win of the season as they take on a pretty good West team, a team that's 3-1 on the season. That game at 7 o'clock in West, so we'll be tuned in to see what's going on there. Whitney and Academy. Whitney, one of those teams that if you watch Friday Night Flex, we highlight a lot, man. These guys got dynamic athletes. Kobe Haynes, who's got offers from multiple different schools. Fisher Watson, their quarterback that puts up video game numbers week in and week out. And, of course, their running back, Jonte Johnson, as well. Coach Haynes does a phenomenal job out there with that program. Look out for Whitney. They're 3-1 taking on Academy at 7:30 in Academy. Rockdale versus Grosbeck. That game at 7:30. Mejia and Cameron Yo. Both the Yeomen and the Bearcats have been struggling this year so far. The Yeomen just 1-3. Mejia 0-4. Both looking to try to improve their season. We'll see who comes out with the victory. That's at 7:30 in Cameron. McGregor taking on Fairfield. McGregor, another team that struggled so far this year. And they're taking on a Fairfield team that has been on fire. Their quarterback has played phenomenal. We talked about the quarterback from Whitney putting up video game numbers. This guy has put up video game numbers week in and week out. We'll talk about some of our stat leaders in the Central Texas area. You'll hear his name in just a little bit. Bullard and Teague. Teague 3-1 on the season, playing at home against Bullard. Maypearl and Troy. Troy looks to get over 500. They're taking on Maypearl. That's at 7:30 in Troy. Chilton and Blooming Grove. Blooming Grove hasn't won a game yet this season, and the Chilton Pirates have looked good. They have got some real deal playmakers on their squad. We've talked about them on this show before. They've got some guys that can go and got some guys that can really play, especially their quarterback, who seems to be taking on the helms and running the helms of the entire offense, doing a phenomenal job as well. So keep your eye on that Chilton Pirates team as we get further and further throughout the season. Those guys can really, really play. Also, San Saba and Hamilton, as we get to some of the lower levels of play. Hamilton 3-1 on the season. Axtell and Dawson playing at 7 o'clock. Bosqueville and Itasca. Bosqueville undefeated so far this year. They've been off to a really good start. Look for them to do some big things. Valley Mills taking on Italy. Valley Mills 3-1 on the season. Leon and Bruceville Eddy will play in Bruceville Eddy at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Crawford off to another good start, 3-1 season so far, taking on Holland at home. Centex Outlaws and Moody will play at 7:30. Brian Brazos Christian and Riesel play at 7:30 as well. Rosebud Lot takes on Normandy. The Mart Panthers will take on Bremond. That'll be one of the good games also in this Central Texas area for this weekend. Bremond, undefeated so far this year, ranked in the state. Mart, a traditional powerhouse, struggling so far this season, just 1-2 on the season. We'll see if they can get back right this weekend. Wortham and Frost playing. Wortham and Frost will play at Frost. Frost undefeated on the season. Meridian and Hubbard playing in Hubbard. And as we get to some of our six-man football, Jonesboro and Aquila will play at 7:30. Bynum and Blum, Gilmer, Union Hill, and Covington will play. Oglesby and Coolidge should be a really good game. Oglesby 4-0, Coolidge 3-1 on the season. Folks, those are some of the games we have lined up for this weekend. Like I said, some really good games. Let's double back onto some of these games here and talk about these matchups. First, let's talk about the 6A matchup, the start of district play, and a home game for the Midway Panthers as they open up district as they take on Harker Heights. Midway has been one of my favorite teams to watch all year long. Obviously, not just because they're my alma mater, but because they've got one of the most exciting offenses in this area. We look at the way these guys can run the football. It starts with those two. This entire offense goes through the running game. Lathan Wissington is a guy that's got offers from everywhere. You name it. Ole Miss, Baylor, Texas, SEC, Big Ten, ACC. He's got offers from everywhere. He has looked like it so far this year. He's already got just under 500 yards of 493 and 8 touchdowns on minimal carries. But then the young gun, the sophomore that shocked us all since week one, every time he touched the ball, he was going to the house. Jaden Fields Vaughn, 436 yards, 7 touchdowns as the backup. When you have a running game like that, a dynamic duo like Lathan Wissington and Jaden Fields Vaughn, the sky's the limit for the Midway Panthers. They should be coming into this thinking about winning district. I'm sure they are. I'm sure that's exactly what Coach Gillespie has been planning to do since the summertime. Well, they're taking on last year's district champs in Harker Heights, who went undefeated in the district. Harker Heights, they're 2-2, but we know this is always going to be a really good program. Midway's going to have their hands full this week, but the way that their defense has been playing the last few weeks, they had a major comeback victory last week versus Mansfield. They were down 30-something to 14, I believe, at halftime, and were able to come back and win that game. So this team is battle-tested. We've seen that resilience. We've talked about this before on here when we spoke about La Vega and the type of season that they usually have. This Midway team is being tested early, and they've answered the bell. First couple of weeks, they run through some teams. Then the third week, they take on a team that's averaging 50 points a game. Take care of those guys. This week against an impressive Mansfield team, or last week against an impressive Mansfield team. Come back from down 30-14 at halftime. Come back in that game and able to win. They've got playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. Their quarterback, McNair, has been doing a phenomenal job this year. We talked about the running backs. Their receivers, Tyler Seath, Jacoby Hamilton had another game with a touchdown and I believe close to 100 yards as well. This is a high-powered offense that can do it all and has a pretty good defense as well. When you mix those two together, this Midway team looks like they're on their way to a district championship. Now, I might be a little biased, as I said before, that being my alma mater, but so glad to see Midway back in the rankings again, back in contention for a district title, and to be able to make some noise in the playoffs in 6A. It's the highest level of football we have here in the Waco area because they're only 6A team. So that comes with a lot. That comes with a lot of competition. That comes with a lot of pressure as well. These guys have stepped up every single week and delivered. I expect them to do the same this weekend versus Harker Heights. Give me the Panthers versus Harker Heights at home as well. Mart taking on Bremond. We talked about that game. Mart been struggling a little bit so far this year. New head coach Chris Lancaster has taken over and trying to get his feel for the team. This Bremond team, I mean, they're one of the best in the state, especially at their classification. They're going to be a very hard team to beat as Mart takes them on at home as well. I'll be rooting for Mart in this game, but give me Bremond if I had to pick out of this one. Kind of reigniting some old feelings in this game. The La Vega Pirates versus Stephenville. This is going to be a really fun game. Every single year it's a fun game when these two play. I've seen this. I've got to watch and cover this Stephenville team through a few of their games over the last few years. Every single year they're putting out a great product. I don't expect anything different this year. They're the number 4 team in 4A Division I. They're 4-0. They're going to be hard to beat, and they're playing at home in Stephenville at Art Briles Stadium. That is going to be a really, really fun game. This La Vega team has been playing great so far this year, led by a multitude of guys. Their defense has stepped up and played great. They've got playmakers on both sides of the ball. The young gun that I called last year is not a young gun anymore, is upperclassman and Courtney Parr. Man, he's been phenomenal the last few weeks. I said a couple of weeks ago, hey, if La Vega wants to get to that next level, it's going to have to be with Courtney Parr. I got a chance to watch them up close and personal last year on their playoff run, and as they elevated, he elevated. And when his play got better, the team got better. So I knew what he can do whenever he's playing good football. That's exactly what he's been doing the last few weeks. La Vega took care of business last week versus Brownswood. Now they're playing against the Stephenville team that's undefeated. They're playing on the road as well. This is the time where your team can rally together, where your team can come together to go on the road in a hostile environment. Stephenville's got a great fan base. They're going to go out there on the road and take on what's going to be a really, really tough team. I like La Vega in this game. This is almost going to be a second look at how they fare against really good top-tier competition. The Salina game, as I said, for a multitude of reasons, didn't go right for them. I think one of the main reasons being they had to drive back home on a bus, get back up in the morning on a Saturday just to go play super far away again against one of the top teams in the state and a team that hasn't lost in a year. So now they get a chance against the Stephenville team. They put in the prep all week long. They get a chance to get on the road, and we'll get a chance to see what this La Vega team is made of. We know they pack the pre-district. They do it every single year. That's why they dominate in district play, because of the way that they pack their pre-district schedule, playing top-tier competition like this Stephenville team. Can't wait to see this game tomorrow at 7:30. Kicking off in Stephenville, number 5 La Vega versus number 4 Stephenville. That is going to be a super fun matchup. Take a look at a couple of these games. University taking on Lampasas. This University team has had its ups and downs so far this season. They're coming in 2-2 on the year. A lot of expectation. They lost one early they didn't think they were going to lose. Were able to win a couple in between and lost again last week. Now, taking on the Lampasas team that's 4-0, taking on the Lampasas team that we know can put points on the board. This is what they do. It's going to be on – I'm looking to lean on University's defense in this game. Their offense, we know about the Baylor commit and London Smith, one of the top recruits in Texas. And we've seen what he can do once he gets the football in his hands week in and week out. Just go watch the highlights if you haven't seen it. Savoy Nichols has been playing some pretty good football so far this year as well. Their offense has weapons, but their defense has a lot of weapons. When you talk about guys like the Baylor commit, Devontre Kirkland, that's been doing it all for this team, pressuring the quarterback, interceptions, playing DB, playing in the front seven. He's done it all. And you couple that with some of the other great playmakers. Estelle's been playing great on the defense. Martinez has been playing great on their defense. So you mix all those guys in. If the defense can step up in this game, University can win on the road. This is a game that, they came down to the final seconds last year when University won. I'm sure Lampasas remembers that, and I'm sure the Trojans remember that as well. They're just going to have to meet in the middle and see who can come out on top in this game. Expect that one to be a really good one at Badger Field in Lampasas. University taking on Lampasas. Folks, those are some of the games that I like for this past weekend. I want to take a look at some of our players of the week from last week on the show. You know, each and every week we like to give out our players of the week for the Central Texas area. And then we're going to look at some of our stat leaders in the Central Texas area as well. First, some of our players of the week from last week's game. The running back, Dax Ferris out of Bosqueville. We talked a little bit about this Bosqueville team. They're undefeated on the season. They've been playing some good football. A lot of it is due to the play of guys like this. Dax Ferris, running back, 18 carries, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also caught a couple passes last week as well. He has been playing great. Caden Kaufman for the Cadets has been a revelation for their offense. Now, they're looking to get back on track this week. They're 500 so far on the season. But Caden Kaufman has added an entirely new wrinkle to this Conley offense. As we said, we got to cover it here on Centex Sports Network, got to cover Conley for some years. Great teams, dynamic teams, but a lot of the times they were traditionally a running team. They ran the ball majority of the time. Looking at these stats from Caden Kaufman, 327 yards and a touchdown, also ran for a touchdown as well. He's been, like I said, a revelation for their offense. They've added something completely new with this offense. We know they've got playmakers. We know about the Braden Fords and the C.J. Evans, the K.D. Linvilles, the Jamarian Vincents. But that quarterback play has really, really helped this team out a lot. He was one of those top players of the week for last week as well. We talked about this Gatesville team. They've got some playmakers on it, on their team. Last week it was Grady Keaton that got 6 catches for 227 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also had 4 tackles on the defensive side of the ball. And then Cy Burns, their running back, 13 carries for 134 yards and a couple of touchdowns as well. This Gatesville team is good. District 12 and 4A Division II. Can't talk about it enough, guys. The premier district in this area. Gatesville, La Vega, China Spring, Conley, Lorena. Man, everywhere you look, there's some good teams in District 12, man. And we're going to talk about another one of them right here, the La Vega Pirates. As I said, this team it starts and stops with the play of Courtney Parr last week. 18 for 25, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns as well. The Oklahoma State commit, Jabari Thornton, 6 catches, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game as well. They've been off to a great start. Those are some of the guys that I think have really played well. Also have to add in Andrew Air McNair, as I call him. 355 yards, 3 touchdowns in their win last week for the undefeated Midway. And then Tyler Seath, 10 catches, 142 yards and a touchdown. He did that alongside Jacoby Hamilton, 5 catches, 104 yards and a touchdown as well. They've been off to a great start. Folks, let's look at some of our stat leaders in this Central Texas area. Some guys that have been putting in work all season long. I'll start on the passing side. Jackson Blanchett from Lorena. We talked about him each and every week here on Centex Primetime and on Friday Night Flex as well. This guy's been playing phenomenal football. Him and the triplets is what I've been calling them. Carson Miller out there at receiver, Brody DeLeon at running back. You're going to see the Lorena guys at the top of the stat list for all the categories here on offense. And Blanchett has been doing a great job of leading Central Texas in yards. It's been between him and Bubba Zacharias, who's right below him. But the Lorena quarterback, 1,338 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions to go along with it. He's leading in yards as well. Leading the touchdown, Levi Leathers from Axtell. Can't leave him out, man. 12 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. Been playing great football. Him along with Cole Collins, who has 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions as well. As I told you guys earlier, Fairfield off to a tremendous start. A lot of it is due to the great play of Cole Collins. He has been on fire to start this season off. That 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions ratio, looking like one of the best in Central Texas so far this year. Caden Kaufman's right up there in the top 5. It's been a while since the Cadets have had a top 5 passer in the Central Texas area. Through 5 weeks, he's right up there with just over 1,000 yards already on the season, 8 touchdowns to go along with it. Slowly creeping up that list is Andrew McNair from Midway. We talked about this dynamic offense, those 2 running backs they have, Jaden Fields Vaughn and Lathan Wissington. But he has been a huge part of this offense as well. 996 yards, 9 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. The best interception to touchdown ratio in Central Texas has to go from Kylan Bassinger, the quarterback out of Temple. 11 touchdowns, no picks on the season, 777 yards. Temple, you can see why they're 4-0, led by Chad President as head coach out there. Courtney Parr's right behind those guys as he rounds out that top 10, top 12 in there with 763 yards, 9 touchdowns to go along with it as well. Those are some of the guys that have been playing great football from the quarterback position. I'll also add in Bryce McCurdy from Robinson. Robinson's got a dynamic offense. We're getting ready to talk about their running back in just a second. They've got a dynamic offense, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And Garrett Keaton out of Gatesville, 640 yards, 7 touchdowns to just 1 interception. He's been playing some really, really good football as well. Let's look at some of our rushing leaders in this Central Texas area. Top of the list, a guy that we knew would be there if you keep up with high school football in this area. Evan Marino from Robinson. He's the lead back for really the last couple of years. Smith from Gatesville last year, believe, led just barely in rushing, just in front of Evan Marino. But, man, to see Marino in here back-to-back years doing that, you know he's putting in work. 853 yards and 7 touchdowns. He leads with the most yards. Tied for the most touchdowns. We got 2 guys tied for the most touchdowns. Jaden Lucky out of Troy, your third leading rusher, 620 yards on the season already, 11 touchdowns. He is tied with Ja'Shawn Johnson out of Valley Mills, who's had a phenomenal season, 574 yards and 11 touchdowns on the season. Those are some of the guys leading. Got to talk about the midway backs. When I bring up any of these running backs, you'll see them down towards the top 10, the end of that top 10. But what you'll notice about them is Evan Marino, he's leading the Central Texas in rushing with 89 attempts. Lathan Wyson's top 10 with 44 attempts. Jaden Fields Vaughn is right behind him with 20 attempts. He's got 7 touchdowns. He's touched the ball 20 times. Almost every time he touches it, he's going to the house, man. That is a phenomenal stat, and I have to bring that up each and every time. Jonte Johnson is right outside of the top 5, 535 yards, 8 touchdowns on the season. Corey and Neely, who we all saw had that huge game a couple of weeks ago, he's right up there, 496 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season. Brian Whitaker, a quarterback, making his way into that list as well. He's a do-it-all guy for Waco High, 419 yards on the season. Let's check out a couple of the receivers here that have been leading things. Ramon Brown, receiver out of Temple, 601 yards, leads everybody in yardage, and also has 8 touchdowns on the season. That is tied with Amos Phillips out of Gatesville. Amos Phillips, a guy that I talked about when we were bringing up Gatesville. Man, does it all for his team. A lot of heart in that kid, and you can tell his play shows as a result of that as well. 523 yards, 8 touchdowns, tied for first in receiving touchdowns in the Central Texas area. Kobe Haynes, a guy that's been getting a lot of attention the last couple of years, a guy that's been on my radar for the last couple of years, especially once I seen Baylor offered him maybe a year or so ago is when I really started to tap in with this kid. But he's a phenomenal athlete, 507 yards, 6 catches on the year. He's been playing great. In the top 5, Carson Miller. Talked about the triplets out there, Lorena. Carson Miller, a part of that. 537 yards, 7 touchdowns for Carson Miller on the season. London Smith, top-rated receiver in the Central Texas area. The Baylor commit, 372 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is electric every time he touches the football. A couple of Conley guys making their way on to here. And Katie Linville with 297 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jamarian Vincent, the Baylor commit, 294 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jamarian Vincent, highest-rated player in this greater Waco area, also headed to Baylor. You see Baylor Bears doing some work here, Central Texas area. Just hope we keep those guys. Right behind them, the midway guys. Jacoby Hamilton, 290 yards on the season, couple of touchdowns as well. Tyler Seath, right behind him, 288 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season as well. As you can tell, this midway offense is dynamic. They got a quarterback that's top 10 in yards, a couple of running backs that are both top 10 in yards, a couple of receivers that are top 15 in yards. As you can see, that midway team is dynamic, and that's why they're 4-0 so far this season. Folks, got to do some defensive guys too. Don't want to leave the defensive side of the ball out as well. Chase Rhines from Waco High. We've said his name just about every single week when we talk about some of those top tacklers week in and week out. He's got 62 tackles on the year to go along with a couple of sacks as well. Devontre Kirkland, tied right up there at the top of the list for sacks. 4 sacks on the season. Like I said, a do-it-all guy for the University Trojans. Guy that they can put anywhere on that defense. You see why he's already committed to Baylor. His teammate, Joaquin Martinez, up there in tackles as well with 34 of them on the season. Few Waco Highs on here. Waco High guys on here. Michael Leonard, 54 tackles. Jalen Good, 51 tackles on the season as well. And Lane Jones, 40 tackles on the season. They've got a few guys up there. Some great defenders on this list. Let's see who some of our interception guys are as well for the DBs to get some love. Tied are right there at first with 5 picks. Connor Covert out of Fairfield. You got a quarterback that's right up there leading the league or leading Central Texas in yards and in touchdowns. And you got a guy on the other side of the ball leading Central Texas in picks. You've got yourself a pretty good team. You see why Fairfield is 4-0. Aiden West with 3 picks on the year. Ayers from Valley Mills, he's got a couple of picks on the year as well. Those are some of our league leaders. And then Kylan Estelle and Jeremiah Green, both university guys, right up there with 2 interceptions as well. Folks, those are some of our stat leaders in the Central Texas area. We've got a great slate of games for you tomorrow on Friday Night Flex, so make sure you guys tune in for that. 6 to 10 p.m. is where you'll be able to catch us. We'll give you guys breakdown on all of these games before, during, and after as well. So make sure you tune in right here on Centex Sports Network for Friday Night Flex. Wayne Walker, Rocky Miller, they'll be up here with me as well as we get ready to talk through some of these games. Folks, let's go over and talk some college football. It is college football season really in full effect, man. They're starting to get into conference games, and that's always the best time of year whenever you get to see those guys going out there getting ready to start conference. Let's go over to Baylor as it fell short last week in what was a super close game with Arizona State. The Bears couldn't pull this one out at home. They go to 2-2 on the season, 0-1 in Big 12 play. We saw Sawyer Robertson, I don't want to say struggle, but really have some mistakes for the first time so far this season. He had 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Bryson Washington was able to get back into his rhythm. 17 carries, 111 yards. Michael Trigg led all the receivers with 71 yards, but it wasn't enough to win the game. Came all the way down to what I believe was the last few plays of the game when on 3rd down, they get the ball to Jordan Tyson, who is a monster, by the way. Jordan Tyson he might be the first receiver picked in the draft this year. He's a problem. They get the ball to Jordan Tyson short of the 1st down marker, but a penalty was called, helmet-to-helmet contact from DJ Coleman, I believe, helped them advance the ball, and they end up getting the field goal range. They win the game. End of story. The Bears, I'm not giving up on them so far this year. They're 2-2, but you think about they played an Auburn team that looks to be pretty decent. They played an SMU team that we all think is going to be pretty decent. They played Arizona State, who was the Big 12 champs, and they're 3-1 on the season, even though they lost to a Mississippi State team a couple of weeks ago. Baylor's still in good shape. This week is what you call a get-right game. You got to try to get right this week. You play Oklahoma State. They just fired their head coach, which I said was going to happen a couple of weeks ago after the way that they lost to Oregon. No reason, as I've stated before, no reason you should lose by 70 points to anybody if you're a Power 4 school. I don't care. Not 70. I'm not saying you shouldn't get blown out. You should not lose by 70 points. Any Power 4 team should not lose to another Power 4 team by 70. That's an issue, and clearly it was an issue because now the head coach is gone for Oklahoma State. But this is where you got to find a win. You got to get a win this week. I know you're playing in Oklahoma State. I've been to Stillwater. It's not the easiest place in the world to play. They just fired their coach. They're gonna feel like, hey, we need to go and do something. It's their first Big 12 game. So technically, even though they're 1-2, none of that really matters. This is where it matters. They're gonna be hyped up and they're gonna be ready to go. I expect Baylor to be able to do fine in this game. Sawyer Robinson playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the nation still, even with them losing last week. He's already thrown for 1,300 yards on the season, 13 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. So expect Baylor to get back in the win column this week. They're favored in this game, obviously, by 20 points, though. Y'all know my philosophy. I don't even touch games like that. 20 points is crazy. I know that Oklahoma State has been playing bad and that Baylor's got a dynamic offense. I'm not taking the 20 points. But for sure, if you just need something to tack in on the end there on the money line, this should be an easy one for you. Give me the Baylor Bears. Let's look at the Big 12. If you talk about some Big 12 play here so far in the season. Baylor, I just said 0-1 so far in the Big 12. Let's talk about some of the other teams, though. Iowa State sitting at the top of this, along with Texas Tech, 4-0 on the season, 1-0 in conference play. Let's talk about the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Contributor on the show, Wayne Walker, a former Texas Tech Red Raider. We talk about the Raiders on here often. First few weeks, they didn't play anybody. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, okay. Kent State and Oregon State. But what are you supposed to do when you don't play anybody? You're supposed to blow them out. That's exactly what Texas Tech did. 67-7 against Arkansas Pine Bluff, 62-14 against Kent State, 45-14 versus Oregon State. Finally get to see them against some competition. We say, hey, this Utah team is pretty good. You know, Devin Dampier, the transfer, coming over, he's looked pretty good so far. This defense has looked pretty good so far. What are they going to do? Well, they come out and manhandle the Utes, as they call. I don't know why they're the Utah Utes. They come out and manhandle the Utes as they get a win over them 34-10. In doing that, they lost their quarterback, Brent Morton, got hurt. He had 142 yards, a couple of interceptions, wasn't playing great. Next thing you know, here comes Will Hammond, 13 for 16, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 96 QBR as he helped lead this team to victory. Also chipped in and rushed for 61 yards as well. This Texas Tech team looks pretty good when you put Will Hammond in there. They look pretty good. They took care of business. They handled business. I got to give them the top spot right now in the Big 12. Before the season, we talked about, man, who can be the top dogs in the Big 12. Texas Tech's name obviously kept coming up because of the NIL, because of the money. The amount of money they spent getting guys out here looks like money well spent so far. They're 4-0 on the season. Just took out a Utah team that's going to, I thought was pretty good coming into that game. Now they got Houston, a Kansas team that's not going to be a pushover. Then they got Arizona State after that. So we'll see what are they made of as they move forward. We'll see what this Houston team is made of as they move forward. Mollywop, Colorado. I know if we got in the younger audience, y'all never even heard that before. But they mollywop Colorado. Wasn't even a close game towards the end of that game. So we'll see what is U of H going to do. They're 3-0 on the season, 1-0 in conference. Been a while since they've been able to say that. They also haven't played a lot of good teams, but they'll get a chance against Tech this weekend to see who can do what. BYU has looked pretty good so far this year. The TCU Horned Frogs have looked pretty good so far this year. Let's look at some of the matchups that are on the board for this weekend in Big 12 play. TCU and Arizona State, they'll start it all off on Friday, 8 o'clock. U of H is going to take on Oregon State. I expect them to take care of business against Oregon State because Oregon State have won the game this year. So I got to take them. But TCU and Arizona State obviously coming off a victory we just talked about against the Baylor Bears. TCU, one of those sleeper teams, man. Going into the season, I didn't know what to think about these guys. I got a chance to attend one of their practices. They look pretty good. They had some guys that looked like they had playmakers out there, but just wasn't sure about them. Well, they come out week one and just embarrass Bill Belichick. I haven't even heard Bill Belichick's name been said since that night where he just got completely demolished on national television on Monday Night Football against TCU. Since then, TCU has now taken on an SMU team that we know can score the ball, and they take care of business. 35-24 win against SMU in a DFW battle last week. TCU has got a chance to win the Big 12. And as a Baylor fan, y'all know that hurts me to say that. There's not many other teams in the Big 12 I dislike more than TCU as a Baylor fan. But you got to give credit where credit is due, man. These guys have done a great job so far this year. They've seemed to put together a pretty good team. Kendall Briles, offensive coordinator, calling plays for these guys. He's got the offense humming. And he's got one of the best kept secrets, I guess, in college football, in Josh Hoover. This dude is phenomenal. he's been playing some great football all year long, and he's a big reason why TCU is undefeated. He's a big reason why they're now ranked 24 in the country. They take on Arizona State. They're playing at Arizona State. This is going to be a fun game. Arizona State favored by 3.5 points. I'm going to say give me TCU on the road. Give me TCU on the road. Give me Josh Hoover over Sam Levitt. That's all I'm thinking about it. If I got to pick between the better quarterbacks, I'm going with them. Now, Arizona State has got a phenomenal running game. Jordan Tyson, there's no covering that guy. It's no saying, we put your best guy on him. You're not covering him one-on-one. He's one of those dudes. You just have to you play good coverage, and when he makes the catch, you just tip your hat. There's nothing else you can do. He's a phenomenal player. So they've got playmakers on their team. Same for TCU. I like TCU in this game. I like Josh Hoover on the road having a pretty good game. 11 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions so far this year. Give me the Horned Frogs on the road. Cincinnati and Kansas, both teams coming in with just 1 loss on the year. Kansas already got a victory in Big 12 play. Cincinnati looking to play their first Big 12 game. Sorsby has been playing pretty good so far this year. 8 touchdowns to just 1 interception. He also leads the team in rushing. That is an issue when your quarterback's leading the team in rushing and he's not, a Lamar Jackson, somebody like that. You usually want to see a pretty consistent running game. I'll take Kansas in this game. Kansas Jayhawks, they've looked pretty decent so far this year. The games that I've got to watch of them, they've looked pretty good. Jalen Daniels, I think, is a dynamic athlete. He's off to a great start this year, 817 yards, 12 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. They've been able to run the ball. He's got some playmakers, and Kansas has some playmakers on both sides of the ball. What do you think about Harris, their DN? He's already got 3.5 sacks on the year. Give me the Jayhawks. They're playing at home. It's 11 o'clock. It's early. It's on TNT. It's still weird to watch Big 12 football on TNT. That's not going to not be weird for me. I'm still used to tuning into basketball on TNT. UCF and Kansas State. Kansas State, man, a team that I just did not expect to start the year off like this. And I said last week that I was out on Kansas State. I'm still out on them right now. But in this game, I'd have to take Kansas State. UCF off to a good start so far. Haven't really played anybody. They played Jackson State, North Carolina A&T, and they also played North Carolina, who we know is absolutely horrible. So I got to take Kansas State in this one. Even though Kansas State hasn't won a game in the Big 12, even though Kansas State is 1-3, they're playing at home. They know they need to win in Big 12 play. Give me the Wildcats in that game. We already talked about Baylor versus Oklahoma State. West Virginia and Utah. I like Utah. They're a -12.5. I don't know if I would pick them on the -12.5. Can't trust them just yet after what I seen against Tech last week. Offense didn't look good whatsoever. But I'll still take the Utes in this game. Give me Utah. Arizona taking on Iowa State. This is just one of those weird games. When you get all that conference realignment, this is one of those games where you realize there's conference realignment because why is Arizona playing Iowa State? That's not something you would expect to see. But give me Iowa State. Both teams undefeated. Arizona's off to a good start. Noah Fafita's been doing his thing. But I don't trust them just yet. They haven't played anybody. Give me Iowa State. They're ranked number 14 in the country. Rocco Beck and the guys out there have been playing some pretty good football. I'll take Iowa State in this game. BYU and Colorado get the night game. BYU has been playing some good football so far this year. The 3-0, as I've talked about before on the show, when we got a chance to go to Big 12 Media Day, some guys looked the part, some guys act the part on the field. But as far as looking the part, BYU came in there. They were the biggest guys in there. Everybody looked big. Whoever they brought, it's like they brought the biggest guys. And then their coach was huge. This is a physical football team. L.J. Martin, a guy here from Texas. We know what he can do. The quarterback has been playing decent football so far this year. BYU is favored in this game, even though Colorado is playing at home. I'm just not going to pick this one because I'd have to. If I'm picking the game, I'd have to pick BYU because I've lost almost every one of them against Colorado that I thought they were going to win. I picked them against Houston, they lose. I picked them against Georgia Tech, they lose. I haven't completely lost faith in this Colorado team, but this will be the game that either gives me some hope or it gives me the reason to completely lose faith in this team. Caden Salter came in, last week. He played good. That's good. I'm glad he played good. But you weren't playing anybody. You were supposed to play good. You were supposed to go out there and have a really good game. That's what they did. He's back in the driver's seat. We'll see can he duplicate that same success that he had last week, this week against some real deal competition. They're already 0-1 in conference play, so you got to try to turn it around right here. You drop to 0-2. It's a tough hole to dig yourself out of as you get through the Big 12 because it's a lot of good teams in the Big 12. You got BYUs, you got Arizona States, you got Iowa States, all in the Big 12. You got the TCUs in the Big 12. You got the Texas Techs. So that's going to be a tough hole for you to dig yourself out of if you go to 0-2. So they've got to be able to try to find a way to win this game. But BYU, this is a game, obviously, I know they're going to want to go out and win. Everybody wants to beat Deion. That's not surprising at all. Everybody's favorite thing is to try to go and beat. I mean, it's prime time. Why wouldn't you? Of course you want to go out there and beat them. So they're going to be playing their A game, but Colorado should be used to that. They get everybody's A game week in and week out. Let's look over at some of these games for the weekend. This slate of games, we've got some really good ones. Starting on Friday night, Florida State taking on Virginia. This Virginia team is actually playing pretty good. Chandler Morris, the transfer from UNT, a school that I went to, so I'm always rooting for UNT, so I got a chance to see some of Chandler Morris last year. He's been playing good football so far for UVA. UVA is 3-1 on the season, best start they've had in a couple of years. Florida State, I'm still taking Florida State in this game, even though they're playing on the road. It will be a tough game. I'll take Florida State, and I'll take them on the points on the 6.5. Florida State's just been playing good football this year, point-blank period. They're ranked number 8, moved all the way up, even after no one trusted them after last year when they started, I believe, in the top 10 or top 15 and proceeded to lose almost every single game of the season. So they had to get back the trust of the voters for each and every week. They've done that. They moved to number 8. We all watched them on national television beat Alabama in week 1. They've dominated in the last 2 games, which they're supposed to do. They played East Texas A&M, and they played Kent State. You're supposed to dominate, but that's exactly what they did. Come out here against Virginia. We'll get to see what is this Florida State team made of. Will they pick up a victory? I have them winning. Right after that, they're going to get tested all the way as they'll take on Miami. They have one of the tougher schedules in the ACC. They play Miami. They also play Clemson. They also play Florida at the end of the year as well. So we'll see what this Florida State team is made of. But give me Florida State versus Virginia in that game. Sneaky ranked matchup. Illinois versus USC. Illinois, I picked them to lose last week against Indiana, and that's exactly what they did. Indiana, matter of fact, beat the brakes off them. Like, the game was not close at all. Illinois is still a really good team, though. They're 3-1. They're taking on a USC team that has just flown under the radar. And I think that's the best way that this season could have gone so far for USC because Lincoln Riley had a lot of heat on him, has a lot of heat on him. Talk about all the quarterbacks he's had. He's never won a national championship. Go to USC. It's supposed to be a hotbed for recruiting. You go to the Big Ten and get beat down that last year. Second year in the Big Ten, they're looking like, okay, they've made adjustments and they're ready to go out here and play. Mavia has been great at quarterback for USC, already 1,200 yards on the season. Makai Lemon, really, really great receiver. One of the best receivers, I think, actually in the nation. Give me USC in this game. They're playing on the road, playing in Illinois. I expect Illinois to lose 2 in a row, even though they got off to a 3-0 start. I'm taking USC in this game. I like Mavia at the quarterback spot, and I think USC has actually been playing some pretty good football. Notre Dame versus Arkansas. Arkansas is 2-2, and it doesn't look like much, but they've been in every single game so far this year. They lose to Ole Miss at the very end of the game. Not even sure how they find a way to lose versus Memphis this past week. And now they've got Notre Dame. They've got a tough start in what is already going to be a tough SEC. They already had to play Ole Miss and Memphis back-to-back. Now they get Notre Dame. Right after that, they get Tennessee and Texas A&M. So Arkansas got to try to find a way to turn this around and quick. They get Notre Dame this week. I'm still taking Notre Dame, even though I think Taylor Green is one of the most dynamic players in college football. He is one of the most fun players to watch in college football. I'll still take the Fighting Irish. I think the team is just better. I think they have played some tough competition, and that's why they're 1-2. They lost to Miami in the opener. Miami is really good. They lost to Texas A&M at the very last seconds of the game. Texas A&M is pretty good. So give me Notre Dame in this game. I like them over the Razorbacks for that game. Ohio State playing Washington. Ohio State, reigning defending champs. They went against Texas in a, defensive battle, I guess you could say. But it's really a game that we realized neither offense was just really playing well. They only won 14-7. They blow out Grambling. Of course, they're supposed to blow out Grambling. Then they play Ohio and get a 37-9 win. Washington going to be their real first test. Give me the Buckeyes in this game. I still have them winning. They're 7.5-point favorite. I'll take a money line just to be safe because I think this Washington team is actually pretty good, and they're going to give Ohio State a game. No, they won't win the game. I still got the Buckeyes winning. They're going to give Ohio State a game. Move to the SEC. SEC's got some huge big-time matchups this weekend. The first one being Ole Miss versus LSU. This is going to be one of the most fun games of the season to see who's really been playing the best in the SEC. Both of these teams have been playing good football. Ole Miss, LSU's been playing good football in the SEC. Alabama and Georgia, we'll talk about them in a second. Georgia's been playing some really good football in the SEC. A&M. This is going to be a really good matchup at 2:30 at Ole Miss. I'm taking LSU, even though they're on the road. Ole Miss playing at home. The crowd is going to be insane. Ole Miss always has a really good crowd. The crowd's going to be insane. Taking on LSU. Like I said, Ole Miss is favorite. I'll take LSU, though, in this game, so give me the points at that 1.5 points. Garrett Nussmeier, this is one of those games you got to go out and prove why you're one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, why GMs and scouts are considering you a top 10 pick for next year's draft. These are the games you got to go out there and show it. Give me the LSU Tigers in this one. Too many weapons. I think they've got too many weapons for Ole Miss's defense. Ole Miss is going to be a tough out, though. It's not like this is going to be an easy game whatsoever. It'll come down to the wire, but I like LSU pulling that one out towards the end. Texas A&M and Auburn. The Auburn Tigers off to a good start, 3-1. They lose last week, but I have them losing again this week. Give me the Texas A&M Aggies, man, and I'm not an Aggie fan. I've already picked TCU to win this week, and I picked the Aggies to win this week. Something must be off because those are two schools that I am in no shape, form, or fashion a fan of. But, like I said, give credit where credit is due. I'm just talking about the football teams. A&M's been playing good football. Marcel Reed is one of the best, if not the best athlete in college football. He's a game changer, not a game manager. He's a game changer, and I think he'll be able to get this A&M team past Auburn, especially with A&M playing at home. Y'all know what that fan base is going to be like at A&M. It's going to be an insane crowd out there. Iowa and Indiana. Iowa off to a 3-1 start. They've been playing decent, but give me Indiana in this game. I'm going to pick Indiana against everybody except Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State. So week in and week out as I do these picks, if you see me get to the Indiana game, you already know who I'm picking. If it's not against one of those teams. Those guys are – Kurt Sinetti's been doing a phenomenal job so far this year and last year of coaching these guys and having these guys ready to go and having these guys ready to play. Give me Indiana in that game. Tennessee taking on Mississippi State. Mississippi State still not ranked even though they're 4-0. And some people think it might be fool's gold that they're 4-0. I think Mississippi State is much improved. Blake Shapen is 100 years old, so he should be pretty good in college football. But give me Tennessee in this one, man. Even though they're playing at Mississippi State, give me Tennessee. I love what I saw from that Tennessee offense versus Georgia. That's the only loss, and that game was a shootout that came down to the last second. To the night games now. On NBC, the Oregon Ducks taking on the Penn State Nittany Lions. This is going to show a lot for me for Penn State. I have Oregon winning this game. If Penn State comes out here and gets smacked on, I can't. It's hard to trust James Franklin. Every year, they're 7-0. They're 6-0. They're 7-1. They're 9-1. They get in the big games, and they're not able to close it out. That just is what it is. Last year, they got far in the playoffs, and I expect them to have a good year again this year. I'm taking Oregon in this game, though. They're playing at home. I know all about it's probably going to be a whiteout out there. We know they got one of the biggest stadiums in college football in America. They have an incredible fan base. But give me the Ducks on the road, man. Dante Moore's been playing lights out. And then the young freshman, DeCorian Moore. I said a couple of weeks ago, he won't be Jeremiah Smith of last year, but he'll be Ryan Williams. What we thought of Ryan Williams last year and how he was able to dominate college football as a true freshman, that's the Corey and Moore this year for the Oregon Ducks, man. Oregon has been playing great on both sides of the ball. Dan Lanning is a good coach, been doing a great job. I know they've got Katron Allen, and I know they got Nick Singleton, and I know they got Drew Aller and Trevor Pena, the transfer from Syracuse, over at Penn State. And they're playing at home, but I'm still taking the Ducks, man. The Ducks have been playing some great football this entire year. Last one of the night, Alabama versus Georgia. Roll Tide versus the Dogs. They're playing in Georgia. I got to take Georgia in this one. Alabama has been playing, better since week 1, but I still don't trust them. I'm not a full believer in Ty Simpson. Not saying I'm a huge believer in Gunnar Stockton, but I'm more of a believer in Kirby Smart in that defense, even though they got some question marks to be answered after that Tennessee game. But Nate Frazier, I like what I saw from him. I feel like he started to become that dominant back that we're used to seeing Georgia have and that we all know Georgia needs. So, for that reason, I'll take him in that game. Those are some of my picks and some of the games I like for this weekend, folks. Really great slate of games on the college football side of things, and I'm excited to be able to watch some of these games. Folks, let's go over to some quick takes while we have some time here left on the show today. As we've already talked about some high school football and some college football as well. Getting ready to talk some NFL, but before we do that, a couple of quick takes, just some things we've seen around the world of sports. First one, Cam Newton, seems like he's in headlines every other week now because he has criticism for quarterbacks, which if he can't criticize quarterbacks, I'm not exactly sure who is qualified to criticize quarterbacks. If Cam Newton is not able to, but some reason they have a problem with that every time. He had some comments about Tua. Tua hasn't played well. The Dolphins stink. The Dolphins are terrible, and Tua hasn't played well this year. I don't think Tua is that great of a quarterback. That's just my opinion. He has some criticism for him, which should be okay. Tua took offense to it, and Tua had some things to say. Let's see. Let's take a listen in and see what Tua had to say about Cam Newton.
Well, anybody can play quarterback in this league then. I mean, I want to see anybody on the streets come and play quarterback. I mean, Cam's doing his thing for sure, but I think it's easier to be able to hold a clicker and talk about it that way, or talk about what someone else is doing wrong when you're not going out and having to do the same as them, right? So I think it's easy to do that. I think anybody can do that. I don't think anybody can play quarterback.
Cam Newton say it the other way.
Okay, Tua. Just strange things have been said by Tua the last month and some change, 2 months, 3 months in the media. He comes out and says, I need more than an apology from Tyreek Hill. That's not going to be good enough for my feelings to not be hurt anymore. He keeps having things to say in the media. The Dolphins are terrible. They get absolutely embarrassed by the Indianapolis Colts in week 1. Tua hasn't played well, and yet he still comes out and fires back at people, and now he's firing back at Cam Newton. There's just multiple things wrong with this. Saying it's so much easier to hold a clicker and to just do that instead of actually coming out here and playing football is what you're supposed to say to me or to somebody like me, Tua. You're saying that about Cam Newton. You're saying that about one of the greatest players in NFL history, regardless of what you think. He's one of the greatest. I've talked about it. If you watch the show, y'all know we don't do no Cam Newton slander on this show. From high school on, this man has been a winner. He took an Auburn team that was terrible and won a national championship in football before the playoff system when it was BCS and you had to be a top 2 team. Nobody else on that team played in the NFL except for Nick Fairley, the defensive tackle. Nobody on his offense played in the NFL. Goes to the Panthers. Horrible organization. Still has the rookie record for passing yards. Wins an MVP. Goes all the way to the Super Bowl and loses. And people say, oh, he couldn't close the deal. He was playing a historic defense with, even though the quarterback was old and beat up, he still had his brain. And it was Peyton Manning. So playing one of the smartest quarterbacks of all time, playing one of the best defenses of all time, led by a guy that's going to go down as one of the best edge rushers of all time, and Von Miller. Played him in his prime, and he lost to those guys. It's not like he lost to some scrubs. And then look at his Panthers team. Their defense was outstanding. Josh Norman, Peanut Tillman, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, All of those guys. Julius Peppers, I believe, was still on that team playing football. Great team. Look at the offensive side. Ted Ginn was the number one receiver. Ted Ginn. And not even a young Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn at like 36 was his number one receiver. A 30-year-old Jonathan Stewart was his running back. Mike Tolbert was one of the main features of his offense, and he was a fullback. That's the team he took to the Super Bowl. So, Tua, what are you talking about when you say it's easier to just stand back there than it is to play football? You've never played football as good as Cam Newton on any level. Never. You definitely haven't played better than him in high school. You didn't play better than him in the pros. Haven't so far. Nowhere close to him in the pros. And you're nowhere near him in college football. Yeah, you got a couple of rings. Look at your team. You were playing on some of the most stacked teams in the world back when you could sit 5 stars on the bench. That's why Nick Saban retired, because you can't sit 5 stars on the bench for 5 years anymore. That whole team went to the NFL when you played for him. Jalen Hurts was the backup. That's how talented that team was. So that's why you won national championships. It wasn't just because you were one of the best ever. Cam is one of the best ever in college football. Cam is one of the best ever in NFL football. So, Tua, I literally have no idea what you're talking about. And I'll be waiting to see what Cam's response is going to be with that, because you're talking about Cam like it's a regular guy here. Like it's me holding the clicker and breaking down film. No, you're talking about somebody that did it at the highest level possible, way better than you have or probably will ever do it. I think Tua needs to retire. I already said that. Tua, come on, man, just retire. Your family probably wants you to retire for your health's sake, because I think it's starting to have some effects on you already, bro, because you're saying some wild stuff. Shador, of course, was asked about playing quarterback, and does he want to be on another team to play quarter. You know, they're always trying to trap Shador with these questions and just try to see if they can get some type of response out of him. But let's see what Shador had to say about some of the quarterback play around the league.
That's not nothing, in my place to answer. That's nothing I can't answer, but I know for sure I'm not. I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that. That's not nothing.
So I do agree with Shador. You see some of the quarterback play in the league, he is better than that. I don't think that's for Shador to say right now. They already are on your neck. They're going to take anything you say and say he's too confident, he's too cocky, Deion didn't raise him right, all the random stuff that we've seen that's been said about Shador. I think Shador just needs to sit back in the cut, be quiet. And that's what he's doing. The reporter came to him and asked him a question. I'm not saying like Shador did anything wrong. I just know how that answer will get misconstrued and will get played and will get put out as a narrative that he thinks he's better than most of the guys in the league. He's not good. He didn't even say that, but that's what y'all are going to say. The same way that I watched Cleveland's own media try to say after a kicker misses a field goal and Shador goes over to him while the kicker's by himself and, pats him on the back, hey, man, we'll get him next time. They say Shador only goes over there to do that so he can get camera time. So y'all already try to twist anything that he does already. So I see where this will be going with Shador. But just continue to do what you do, man. Sit in the background, be chill, because trust me, this is all going to play out. Cleveland's not good. Dylan Gabriel is about to play soon, very soon. And once he plays, we know he's not the guy. So after that, who's going to be up? Shador. Just stay in the background. Wait on your time. Coach Prime said he's going to get a shot this year, and he thinks he knows when it's going to be. I don't have a prediction on when it's going to be. Depends on how soon they put in Dylan Gabriel. Then I'll have a prediction on when it's going to be, because I don't think he's the guy. We know, Joe Flacco's 1,000 years old. We know he's not the guy. He's just out here to take some of the hits the first few weeks, honestly, and get a check. He don't have any expectation to win. If he wins, cool. If he doesn't, who cares? They won this last weekend against the Packers, which was a shocker. That destroyed my parlay ticket as well. Hopefully we get back in the win column this week, though. So, Shador, just wait it out, man. Wait. You'll get your shot, and it's coming up soon. The NBA is starting to kick back up, and we're seeing already NBA teams having their media days, different guys already coming out and saying stuff, some good, some bad, some indifferent or whatever. But as they start to kick back up, the podcasts have been going. Rudy Gay is on a podcast, first off, that I love watching, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with Carmelo Anthony, one of my favorite sports podcasts to watch. And Rudy Gay has been one of my favorite players. But sometimes you just gotta let somebody know when they were tripping. And Rudy Gay was tripping with this. Rudy Gay says on the podcast, I don't think Miami could beat us in 2013. Talking about his 2013 Memphis Grizzlies team, which was actually a good team. Marcus Gasol, Zebo, Tony Allen, Mike Conley. Really good team. I was a fan of the grit and grind Grizzlies. But that also means he's talking about the Heatles in 2013 with LeBron, who played one of the best seasons we've ever seen somebody play in the NBA. His numbers, his efficiency, his dominance that entire year was unmatched after coming off his first championship. And he thought the Grizzlies were going to beat them. And I've already seen people saying, well, that's the year he had to get saved by Ray Allen. You know, some of you guys are just trolls, so I get it. But can we stop with the saved by Ray Allen thing? Who scored all the points, the last 14 straight points, I think it was, leading up to Ray Allen hitting that shot? I think it was the guy wearing number 6. So which one is more, 14 or 3? You're saying if Ray Allen don't hit that 3, they lose. If LeBron don't score 14 straight, they lose. So what do you – but like I said, some of y'all are just trolls. He said that they could have beat that team. I'll let y'all listen to what Rudy Gay had to say, and y'all make your own opinions on it.
Team we had, like, and I'm gonna take that into this, like, bro. With all due respect to that team, they won a championship, but I don't think they could have beat us that year, bro. The year I got traded, I think that was the year. That was our year. With that team we had, like, and I'm gonna take that into this, like, bro. With all due respect to that team, they won a championship, but I don't think they could have beat us that year, bro. The year I got traded, I think.
So I DM it to I DM it to Rudy. Hey, Rudy, this must be an AI generated quote. Cause it ain't nowhere in hell you said this. So he hit me back. And he like, yeah, I said it, you gotta have confidence.
Yeah, I said it.
I said, boy, belt to ass. So left it at that. Then I seen him at Melo at the after party. I said, hey, man. What's wrong with you? You're not just gonna win the finals because you think you want to win the finals, bro. We would have belted. We had just been in the finals 4 years in a row. We smacking y'all. You don't know how to win in the finals, bro. You just think it's that easy?
Right.
Like, people really think it's that easy. And that's the thing with me when it comes to winning. It's like, yo, stop. No. So I said.
So obviously you guys heard D-Wade had to fire back and say what he said. And first off, D-Wade is a killer on the court, man. I know his persona now is a little sassy, but his persona now is a little different, even with his response. Some of the stuff he's, hey, it's each his own. But D-Wade was a killer out there, and D-Wade is right. What are you talking about? Y'all would have beat the Miami Heat in 2013? The Memphis Grizzlies would have beat them. And I see, I've already had to dive in the comments. I've seen some on TikTok and on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff. Oh, man, they would have had a problem with Zebo. They had a problem. You're right. Zebo was a monster. Zebo might have left every game with 25 and 15. But Zebo also would have left the game, that series, 20 pounds lighter from how much he would have had to run. Are y'all kidding me? The 2013 D-Wade and LeBron on the fast break. Do you think the Grizzlies had any answer for that? What are y'all talking about? They would have got run out the gym. 5-1, gentleman's sweep. Miami Heat win. And that's to D-Wade's point. You think it's that easy to just win in the finals? You just go to the finals, and we ain't never been to the finals, but we're going to go, and we're going to beat a historic team that went 4 straight years to the finals. Man, cut it out, Rudy. Come on, bro. And I love how when D-Wade called him on it, you got to have confidence. Nah, man. No. They're getting run out the gym, respectfully, to that Grizzlies team. That was great. Tony Allen, a great defender. He did a great job of guarding somebody. Wouldn't have been able to guard everybody. And they had Ray Allen and them. Come on, bro. Man, they would have got ran out the gym. Chris Bosh is at the 5. He's faster than Zebo and Marcus Gasol put together. They running them out the gym. Zebo is going to need a gas mask after he has to run out to the 3-point line for the 50th time against Shane Battier for the night. If he doesn't get matched up against Braun, who we know Braun would do a decent job on Zebo, Zebo has absolutely no chance guarding him. So, yeah, I thought that was funny. I don't know what he's talking about out there. The new look Zion Williamson has been getting some attention. He comes in, loses, looks like he's lost weight, and said, "Oh, he's focused now. He's training." All that. With Zion, we just got to go out there and see it, man. Every year is this. Every year it starts out, man. Can Zion do it this year? He's gonna come out and he's gonna dominate somebody. That's what he does. When he plays, he's one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant player in the NBA when he's playing, when he's healthy. But that's just it. When he's healthy, he's never healthy. And it's because of him eating food. Like, it's literally because of his weight. I've never seen anything quite like this for a guy to just never be able to get right in the league even after the second contract. So, yeah, he's lost weight, and yeah, he's in shape now. But when that etouffee starts setting in, and them crab cakes start setting in, and what's the biscuit place that they call it? When that stuff starts setting in, will you be on the court? That's what we want to know. We know you're talented. We know you're good. We know you're one of the best players in the league. But when are you going to be on the court? First of all, the Pelicans are going to be terrible. They got Jordan Poole as their point guard now, so they're going to be terrible. But I can't trust this new look Zion just yet, man. I got to see what's going on with Zion first before we do that. Is his off-the-court decision making better? Can't stop eating. Can't leave a certain type of demographic of people alone. I'll leave it at that. He likes a particular type of women that he keeps finding a way to spend money on, or whatever he wants to call it. He got to get off the court right before he can get to on the court right. So we'll keep an eye out to see what's going on with Zion Williamson. Let's go over to the NFL while we got some time left here on the show. First off, the game tonight is one I'm actually looking forward to watching, in Seattle Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. NFC West is sneakily one of the best divisions in football. Cardinals dropped a game last week that I had them winning against San Francisco. Took a last-minute drive by Mac Jones for them to go down, kick a field goal, and win the game in order for them to get that one done. But I like this Arizona team, man. I think they got a lot of young talent. I'm expecting Marvin Harrison Jr. to be able to bounce back after last week and all those drops when we all seen him when he was finna cry and all that, yada, yada, yada. I think they get back on it. And Kyler Murray reminds everybody once again tonight that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He doesn't get any of the recognition because the Cardinals are horrible. So we shouldn't give him a lot of recognition. But I don't think Kyler Murray ever got sorry. I think we just forgot about him. Still the number one pick. Still the only guy to ever get drafted top 10 in 2 different sports. Still one of the best athletes. If you're from Texas like myself and most of the people watching this show, you know he's one of the best high school. He, to me, is the best Texas high school football player of all time. His resume is, it's insane. Do your Googles if you don't know. But I got the Cardinals tonight playing Seattle at home. Seattle is favored in this game, so this will be one hey, maybe could pick some points up on this. I'll take the Cardinals in this one. They've been playing good football. Seattle has been playing some decent football as well. We'll see what Sam Darnold does. A guy that never gets talked about on this Arizona team that is one of the best players in the league is Budda Baker. Never gets talked about. He's literally just an animal out there. Just watch the Cardinals play tonight. You're going to see number 3 flying around the ball everywhere out there. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been playing really great football. He is the number one receiver for the Seattle Seahawks this year, even with Cooper Kupp being out there. But I'll still take Arizona in this game tonight. Give me Arizona, and I'll take them on the points. Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. My Texans, this is a get-right game, man. This is a win-or-go-home type of situation. This is a game you have to win. You're playing against a struggling rookie quarterback that I think is going to be really good in Cam Ward. But if you C.J. Stroud, this is where you get your confidence back. You got to go out here and attack this defense that's got some game players, got some game records. When you talk about Jeffrey Simmons, we talk about L'Jarius Sneed and guys like that. They've got some guys on it. They're 0-3. We're 0-3. Texans got to find a way to win this week. It's as simple as that. We can't block, can't keep C.J. Stroud up. We don't know if he's regressing or if it's just the line. I think it's a little bit of both. C.J.'s got to play better. The line's got to play better. And please, to our offensive coordinator, can we just run the football? We got to run the football, man. I was on here with Rocky on Tuesday, and we talked about the Texans. You have got to run the football. We got Nick Chubb. I know he's coming off injuries. I know sometimes he only gets 2 to 3 yard runs. But give him more bites at the apple. Just 12 carries is not enough. We got to run the ball in order for this team to get successful. If the line is bad, let them do the one thing they probably want to do or are good at, which is push people down. We got to run the football, man. Texans need to find a win. I got Texas winning. They're 7.5-point favorite. I ain't taking the points because I don't trust the Texans right now, even though they're my team. Early on Sunday morning, Minnesota Vikings, Pittsburgh Steelers playing in Dublin. Give me the Steelers just because it's out of town, man. Aaron Rodgers finds a way to win these type of games most of the time. I know what Minnesota did last week. I know they beat the brakes off the Bengals with a backup quarterback, but the Bengals were playing with their backup quarterback too. So, yeah, Carson Wentz played good and all that. Give me the Steelers this week, though. I just trust the Steelers a little bit more than I do the Minnesota Vikings right now, even though the Vikings are 2-1. And like I said, Aaron Rodgers playing overseas seems to usually has a pretty good game whenever he's able to do that. So give me Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers on that game. The Washington Commanders and the Atlanta Falcons. I expect the Commanders to win this one. Commanders are just a 1.5-point favorite in this game. We know Jaden Daniels' health has been in question. He says it's up to the doctors. It's not his decision. If he plays, I have them winning. If he doesn't, I might still have them winning because the Atlanta Falcons are just a mess so far this year. They haven't looked great on either side of the ball. Michael Penix hasn't played good football at all. I think he'll be starting this week over Kirk Cousins, but he's probably going to have a short leash. He goes out there messing around again. I think he'll get yanked in this game. Battle of the undefeateds in the NFC. Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got to pick the Eagles in this one. It's Tampa Bay at home. They're going to have an advantage because they're at home. Tampa Bay's been playing good football this year. I feel like the Texans are supposed to beat them. We let Baker Mayfield run for 20 yards on 4th and 13. It's absolutely nasty work. But they've been finding a way to win week in and week out. Baker Mayfield, we know he's going to play through injury. He's going to do all of that. But give me the Eagles, man. I can't pick against these guys right now. They haven't lost since last September. It's going to be October. Like, I got to take them. With Jalen Hurts as quarterback. I know they lost at the end of the year last year with Kenny Pickett in the backups. Yada, yada, yada. With Jalen Hurts starting the quarterback, they ain't lost since September. Give me the Eagles. They're 3.5 points, so I'll take them on the points. Even though they're on the road, I still like the Eagles in that game to be able to come out with a victory. The Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns, obviously I'm taking Detroit. Nothing to look forward to here for Cleveland. Stay away from the points. As tempting as it is, I do think it'll get away from this, but Cleveland is one of those teams where they can just muddy up a game enough to make it close. That's what they did with the Packers last week. They just muddied it up until it came down to a situation where they could win. Green Bay goes for a field goal to win the game. Instead it gets blocked. They get it on the other side. They go kick a field goal. It wasn't much of a win game. They just had an opportunity to win. They stayed around long enough to get that opportunity to win. So for that, stay away from the points, even though I like Detroit in this game. Joe Flacco's been terrible. Nobody on the Browns is good. I'm not going to give anybody any analysis on the Browns, except for Myles Garrett, who continues to prove that he's the best defensive player in the league. It's been like that. When Aaron Donald was in the league, it was just Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett are up here, everybody else somewhere down here. Now it's just Myles Garrett way up here, everybody else down here somewhere. Myles Garrett is phenomenal. But nobody else on their defense has anything or offense has anything to write home about. Shout out Denzel Ward. He's a pretty good player too. Give me Detroit on the win. Carolina taking on Carolina taking on the Patriots in this game. This was a game that nobody's going to be tuning into, but I like seeing these type of matchups. The Patriots, I feel like they have the goods, to be able to be an improved team from last year. Just haven't been able to pull out those close games, and that's expected. They're a super young team. Playing against Carolina, who's also a super young team. I trust New England more. I'll take New England at home. They're 5.5-point favorites, but that game could end up being a close one, so I wouldn't take them on the points, but I will take them on the money line. Jacksonville Jaguars playing against San Francisco. Jaguars coming off a win against my Texans, a game where neither one looked impressive. Texans didn't look good. Jaguars didn't look good. Mac Jones, questionable coming into this game. They're already down Brock Purdy. So we'll see who's going to be able to try out a quarterback. Expect to be Mac Jones. Give me San Francisco in this game, though. They're undefeated, even though they're hobbling through the season. Nick Bosa already out for the season. Brock Purdy out for the season. I don't know if it's already happened, but can they please fire their strength and conditioning trainer? They get hit with the worst injuries every single year. George Kittle also hurt. It's ridiculous. Every year, it's either that or they have the most injury-prone players of all time. One year they're healthy, they're going to be near the Super Bowl. The next year, they're hurt. McCaffrey's been hurt. Purdy's hurt. Bosa out for the season. Kittle's out. It seems never ending for these guys. I'll still take San Francisco right now, but I expect this San Francisco team to fall apart towards the end of the season just because they won't be able to sustain any health. Indianapolis Colts and the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams let one get away from them last week. They were up on Philly. I had the Rams beating Philly on my ticket. As you guys can see, my ticket was trash last week because I keep talking about the guys I had on my ticket to win that did not win. I had the Rams winning, and it looked good. It looked good. They were up 26-7 in the fourth quarter. I thought it was a shoo-in. And then the fourth quarter happens. Jalen Hurts turns into Superman all of a sudden, and now he remembers who A.J. Brown is. They come back in the game. But the Rams are a really good team. I expect the Rams to win this one. Give me the Rams. They're at home as well. Matthew Stafford, if he's healthy enough to play, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I know the Colts have looked good. I know Daniel Jones has looked good. Fool's gold. Can't trust it just yet. I do think they'll be a good team. I'm talking about Daniel Jones being good. It's fool's gold. He's thrown 3 touchdowns on the year. Jonathan Taylor's already rushed for 338 yards on the year. Pittman has been good for them on the offensive side of the ball. The Colts are a good team. I just had the Rams winning this one. I think the Rams are a better team. A battle of two teams I did not think would be 1-2 at this point in the season, and one of these two teams are going to be 1-3 at the end of the season. Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs playing in Kansas City. Baltimore a 2.5-point favorite. Baltimore, even though they're 1-2, I just feel like they're letting the game slip away from them. Literally slip out of the hands of Derrick Henry. Week 1 against the Bills, they were winning, and I thought they were going to win. A fumble from Derrick Henry turns the game around. Bills win. Last week, the same thing on Monday Night Football. It was a close game, back and forth the whole game. Fumble late in the game by Derrick Henry, loses the game. Now, people are already coming out and saying you can't trust Derrick Henry. He fumbles the ball, all this. Derrick Henry's not going to keep fumbling. He has 3 fumbles this year. He had 3 fumbles in the last 700 carries. So he's going to make up for it. He's not going to keep fumbling the entire year, man. I don't think that's going to be be an issue for this team. I like the Ravens. Give me the Ravens in this game, even though they're playing on the road against Kansas City, even though Patrick Mahomes has beaten Lamar Jackson 5 out of the last 6 times. I think the last 5 times in 6 games that he's beaten him. But I still take Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is playing like the best player in the league again. 9 touchdowns, 722 yards on the season. He's playing like the best player, like I said, again. And I think they get a victory. The Chiefs, I just don't know what these guys are. They're getting Xavier Worthy back this week, so that'll help for them. But this team doesn't have an identity on defense or on offense. It's just Patrick Mahomes, can he save us every single week? He's leading the team in rushing with 125 yards. So we know that's an issue. Every week it's just, can Mahomes bail us out? Can Mahomes bail us out? 2 out of the 3 times so far this year, no, he hasn't been able to bail them out. I'll take the Ravens, even though Kansas City's at home. We know what kind of fan base they have at home. Give me the Ravens. The Bears and the Vegas Raiders. I'll take the Bears in this game. Vegas is favored by 1.5 points. I don't think Vegas is a bad team. I think the Bears are just slightly better than them. Can Caleb Williams build on the amazing game against the Cowboys, even though everybody seems to have a good game against the Cowboys? Can he build on that game? I think he does. Give me the Bears versus the Raiders. A Sunday night game. Green Bay versus Dallas at Jerry World. I picked this game 4 weeks ago, so I know I'm picking already. It's Green Bay. I'm picking Green Bay. Now I just have evidence to support why I picked Green Bay. Before, my evidence was Green Bay, the last few times I've seen them in Jerry World, they smacked the Cowboys. So that's one reason to take them. But we've seen this absolutely horrible defense from the Cowboys. I've tried to tell, some of you Cowboys fans the last few years, okay, Trayvon Diggs, first-team All-Pro. Deron Bland, first-team All-Pro. It's because of the pass rush. Yes, they are great ball hawks. They have amazing ball skills, probably some of the best in the league. But they can't cover. Deron Bland is not a cover guy. Trayvon Diggs is not a cover guy. They're a guy that when the ball's coming out all wobbly because Micah Parsons done slapped somebody's arm, they're going to go pick it. That just is what it is. Trayvon Diggs has gotten scored on every game this year. I don't know why Malik Hooker's still on the team. He's been terrible. Expect Jordan Love to have a good game, to have a bounce-back game after not so good of a game last week against the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Packers. I'm taking Jordan Love's over. I'm taking Josh Jacobs over. The Cowboys just can't stop anybody. I'm also probably taking the over for Dak Prescott in his yards because they're going to throw the ball every play. in the fourth quarter when they're down by 20 because of their defense. They're going to throw the ball, and we know Dak loves stat padding. Maybe that's why Schottenheimer took him out last week and put Milton in, because usually, even in the blowouts, they leave Dak in, and he ends up throwing for 400 yards to help pad his stats. Even though I'd be okay with that because I have Dak in my fantasy league. So I'm cool with that. But give me the Packers, man. Packers are 6.5-point favorite at Dallas. Dallas can't play defense. It's just that simple. I think Dak will play decent. I think Micah Parsons is going to come get a hit on Dak Prescott, and there's going to be a clip that everybody's going to play. And Rashawn Gary's been a monster this year, 4.5 sacks already on the season. I'm taking the Packers in that one. The two Monday night games, the Jets versus the Dolphins, trash versus garbage. That's what I feel about this game. Both these teams are terrible. Tyrod Taylor played decent last week, wasn't good enough for them to win. They're playing at home. Give me the Dolphins, man. I just got done talking about Tua and the Dolphins. The Dolphins are, they're terrible. Miami Daniels needs to get fired. Tua needs to retire. And Tyreek Hill needs to get traded. But the Jets don't have a quarterback for that reason. I'm taking Tua and the Dolphins in that game. The Monday night game. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Broncos. This is a get-right game for the Broncos. Yeah, Cincinnati's 2-1. Jake Browning, even after his phenomenal first game, looked equally as bad in the second game, in the second start. Looked pretty terrible. Expect Bo Nix and those guys to have a bounce-back game. This is a get-right game for Sean Payton and the Broncos. They're 1-2 on the season. Expect them to be 500 at the end of this game. I expect those guys to come out and win. Folks, so those are some of the games I like for this weekend. Those are some of the games I like for this weekend in the NFL slate. Some of the predictions. We'll see. I'll keep track of these. We'll see what I come out with this upcoming weekend. But we're out of time here today on Centex Primetime, everybody. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here on the show. Tomorrow, Friday Night Flex. We got Friday Night Flex tomorrow. Make sure you guys are ready, tuned in for that, starting at 6 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m. We'll give you analysis for the games during, before, and after the football games. Lots of great games on the slate for this weekend. Saturday, MCC Volleyball. We got MCC Volleyball once again. You'll be able to catch all of that action right here on YouTube, Centex Sports Network /Centex Sports TV. Also, you can watch on the website. Full coverage on our website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. That is CentexSportsNetwork.com. Go over there and check us out on there. So a great game, a great slate of football games this weekend on the high school level, on the college level. A lot of battles in the SEC, Big Ten battle with Penn State and Oregon, and then also great games to close out in the NFL this weekend. So make sure you guys tune in on Monday as we get a chance to recap all of the games for this weekend. So we will see you guys then. Thank you for everybody tuning in with us. It's been a fun week up here on Centex Primetime. We'll be here tomorrow, 6 p.m. for Friday Night Flex. Make sure you guys tune in for that. I'll see you guys then. Everybody have a great weekend.